Hi you guys, so today's notes are about graphing intercepts. So previously we actually graphed using slope and y-intercept just a couple days ago. So today we are going to be graphing using the x-intercept and y-intercept. So how is this actually done? Well, step one, the equation must be in standard form. So that form was the ax plus by equals c. Step 2, to find the x-intercept, you're going to cover up the y term and solve for x. So this is our standard form right here, as you guys can see, ax plus by equals c. And the step 2 just said that I need to, in order to find the x-intercept, I need to cover up this y value. So I'm basically ignoring that value and writing this. And I'm going to solve for x. I'm going to divide both sides by a to get that x by itself. Okay, so then now, step number 3, we're going to do the opposite. You're going to find the y-intercept, you're going to cover up the x term, this one that has the x with it, and we're just going to go through and solve for that by equals c. So we would end up dividing by both sides by whatever number is in front of that y. In this case, we're just using a variable because it could be any number. And then that would get our y by itself. So we would see, in this case, it's like this. But we're going to actually do this with real numbers. I'm just kind of showing you a general formula. Step 4, you're going to plot both intercepts and connect the dots. Okay, so those are all of our steps, so let's actually go through and do some examples. So example 1, you're going to identify the x and y intercepts and then graph the line. So our step 1, we want to make sure that we are in our standard form, being the ax plus by equals c. So it looks like we have our x term, our y term, and then our constant, that number by itself, so we are in standard form. Awesome. So in order to find our x-intercept, we want to, if you go back and look at this step, x-intercept, we want to cover up the y term. So we're going to cover up this y term. We're just going to kind of ignore it for now. And then we get to just actually rewrite this as x equals 4. Well, look at x actually already is solved for 4. So this is actually saying that 4, x equals 4. So remember our point is x comma y. So that's how we're writing this point. We ignored that y, so it's going to be a 0. We're going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We found our x-intercept, so that's going to be 1 point on our graph. Now, we have to find our y-intercept. So our y-intercept tells us to go ahead and ignore this x value. So now I'm left with 2y equals 4. This is where I was showing you guys that we have to get rid of that number that's being multiplied by the y. So that 2 is being multiplied by y. So we need to divide both sides by 2, leaving us with y equals, and since the larger number is on the top, we are going to have a whole number. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And in order to write that as a point again, we ignored that x value, so we are just going to have our 0 there, and we have a 2. Okay, so that is our, oh I'm sorry, and I rewrote those, so don't do your point there. So our x-intercept means that it has to be going across the x-axis. So we have to go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. So that x value should be on our x-axis. The y value should be on our y-axis. So 0, we didn't go over left or right any, so we went up 2. And then now we just get to graph our line. So we actually get to connect those points, creating our actual line for this equation here. So connect your dots, and that's our line. Our next example, again, we're going to identify the x and y intercepts and then graph the line. So you guys, I'm actually doing the evens on this worksheet, and you guys are going to be doing the odds. It's only 3 problems. So this is exactly what the worksheet looks like. So your x-intercept, remember we cover the y, and we're going to just go ahead and do negative 4x equals 20. So go ahead and solve for x by itself. We're going to divide by the negative 4, and then negative 4 divided by negative 4 is just 1, and 1 times x is just x. Negative, so positive 20 divided by negative 4. Positive divided by negative is a negative, and we want to know how many times 4 goes into 20, and it goes in 5 times nicely. So this point value, we're going to go on our x-axis. Again, this is our x-axis. We're going to go to negative 5. So we write that as a point 0, oh, I always do that, sorry. We ignored the y that time, so negative 5, comma, 0. So I'm going to go left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and make a point right there. Now my next one, I'm again going to ignore, now I have to ignore the actual x value. So we're going to ignore this one because we already solved for it. So in order to get my y-intercept, we're going to cover up the x value. And now we're going to go ahead and solve for y. Divide both sides by, oh, I wrote too many equal signs there. We're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 5. And then now we get y equals 5 goes into 24 times. So at this point, I covered up my x value, so it's a 0, and then we have 4. So my y-axis, my y-intercept, the reason why it's called x and y-intercepts, you guys, is because it's going through the x and y-axis. So your y-intercept should make sure it's going through that y-axis, which it is. And then now we get to connect our dots, creating our line. Alright, let's go over our last example together. So again, x and y intercepts. X-intercept, I'm going to go ahead and cover up that y value. We are in standard form, so ignore that one. And you guys don't have to actually scribble it out on your paper. I just want to show you how it's just easier what I'm writing down. So 9x equals 45. Go ahead, it's being multiplied again, so we have to divide to get rid of multiplication. And we get x equals 5. Write that as a point. We ignored our y this time, so we have 5 comma 0. Go to our x-axis, it was the x equals, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a point right there. And then we are going to go to ignore our x value now. So let's go ahead and cross that one out now. And then we are going to go through and deal with the 15y equals 45. We're going to divide both sides by 15 in order to get rid of that multiplication. That's being multiplied by the y. 15 divided by 15 is just 1, which equals y. 1 times y is y. And then 45 divided by 15, it actually goes in 3 times. So we ignored the x that time, so we're going to make it a 0, and we get 0, comma 3. So we're going to go ahead and plot that 3 points on the y-axis, and go ahead and connect your dots again. And that's it, you guys. So you're going to do the even problems 1, 3, and 5, and you're going to go ahead and use your graphs. Go ahead and make your lines and stuff, but just make it clear that I can actually see your lines right here, or you can even number them for me so I know what you're actually counting by. Good luck. Let me know if you need help.